You are in luck because I actually have to make some cookie boxes for today. Disclaimer, I'm actually using this recipe from the Fantasy Bakery. It's my favorite recipe taste-wise, and it's also my favorite recipe for sugar cookies that don't spread. So no, I did not develop this recipe, but we're going to start off with 1 cup of softened butter. Now, I know in the first video I used melted butter, but please use softened butter. To me, it makes a huge difference in making the dough a lot easier to work with. But I was on a time crunch, so I had to use melted butter. But along with your butter, you're going to cream it together with 1 cup of white sugar. Once your butter is creamed with the sugar, you're going to add 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I actually used vanilla bean paste in this video, but vanilla extract is also fine. Mix all those ingredients together, and then you're going to gradually add 3 cups of flour. I prefer doing it 1 cup at a time, and if you don't have a stand mixer, it's actually easier to mix your dough together with your hands. Now, when you're done mixing, your dough should be the consistency of Play-Doh. You also don't want to add too much flour, because if you add too much flour, your dough will start to be flaky and start to crumble. Now, on a floured surface, we're going to start rolling out our dough to start off with our cutouts. Once you have your cutouts done, you're going to bake these for 6 to 8 minutes at 350 degrees, but if you want them a little harder and crunchier, you're going to bake them for about 10 minutes. If the edges of the cookie start to turn golden brown before the rest of the cookie, then you know that they've been in the oven for too long. Now, while my cutouts are baking, we're going to start on our icing. This icing recipe I randomly found on the internet about 2 years ago, but this happens to be the easiest recipe for me, so I've just stuck with it. But you're going to take 4 cups of powdered sugar, 3 tablespoons of meringue powder. You can find this at any bake shop, and then you're going to add about 9 tablespoons of water. I first do an initial mix so that everything gets combined. And then after that, I hit it with a hand mixer so that the icing gets a little fluffier. The fluffier the icing, the easier it is to work with. And you don't want it to be too watery because it could bleed. But yeah, that is my basic sugar cookie recipe.